Hey, welcome in.
Welcome to the Arrowhead Addict podcast.
We are here coming to you live.
The Kansas City Chiefs are going to the Super Bowl. You only win a Super Bowl 2 times every 5 years, right?
Oh!
The warm-up act is over. Let's bring in Melissa Etheridge, massive Chiefs fan. Melissa,
Super Bowl champion, 2-time Pro Bowler, and Trent Green. Trent Green, how you doing?
Hey, what's going on, guys?
And he picked it up! He picked it up! He's gonna score!
and we'll see you next week. But until then, as always, go Chiefs.
Welcome into the Arrowhead Addict podcast on this Tuesday. Sterling Holmes, Josh Brisco. You can follow him on the X at JB Brisco, myself at Homestretch KC. Brisco, man, how you doing? Your hair looks glorious right now. You have I can't tell if it's a 1960s bowling sweater on, but I like it.
Yeah, I've been getting a ton of run out of these knit polos that have really become knit button-ups, actually. The buttons, you can't tell, I moved my mic stand. The buttons go all the way down. And, I'm a big short sleeve button-up guy, generally speaking. This sort of renaissance of this style has been very good for me. I was going to tell you, your mustache, of course, is looking immaculate, looking like it was painted on fresh this morning. I mean that in a complimentary fashion, not in a pejorative one. It's so good, the haters could say it's fake. But the Chiefs are undefeated, and that means everything's fine, right? Nothing horrendous happened against the Niners. The Chiefs didn't just make, 6 little practice squatty moves to try to bolster a disintegrating roster. Everything's fine, right?
No, we're good. I think everything is apropos, right? There's no reason to worry.
Cornell Powell back, man. What would you be worried about?
Yeah. Bailey Zappi going somewhere else to the Browns, right? That's the big news.
I mean, that did bum me out a little bit. It was Desmond Ridder. When Desmond Ridder got poached off a practice squad, I thought, it'd be kind of a bummer if somebody grabbed Bailey Zappi. And then, listen, the Browns just could not resist the urge to reunite a couple of Chiefs legends, Bailey Zappi and Kadarius Toney. So the two of them, they can link up and practice. I bet it'll be great.
I want to get into a lot of the Chiefs receiver news that's going around. Obviously, talk about the 6-0 start. The only undefeated team left in the NFL, that is your Kansas City Chiefs. Red zone, it's fixed. We've done it, guys. The red zone, they were 4 for 5, and technically it should have been 4 for 4. They got into the red zone, and then they got a penalty, moved back, and then Mahomes threw the interception. So technicality, it's a red zone miss, but no. I'm happy. But before we do that, something that makes me very happy, well, you guys know, it's Underdog. Underdog Fantasy makes me extremely happy. You know why? Because they helped me out this past week. They did. I had an injury to Jayden Daniels. I had an injury. I picked 5 higher or lowers. I did. I got 4 right. And I think, oh no, I'm screwed. Jayden Daniels is injured. I'm going to miss this. What did Underdog do? They voided it. They give me injury insurance right there. They said, that's not fair. How are you supposed to know that Jayden Daniels is going to get injured? And I said, I didn't, Underdog, thank you. And so I still won. I left a winner thanks to them. And that's one of the great things you can have right there at Underdog. They're doing a really fun thing all October long as well. Just specials every single day. Really, really cool. It's Boozetober. Yeah, that's right, baby. Boozetober, a promo nearly every single day. Make sure you use promo code Arrowhead Addict. So that way, if you do that, you can get up to $1,000 in bonus cash instantly. It's just that easy. Using promo code Arrowhead Addict, that is all one word, to up to $1,000 in bonus cash instantly. Just select higher or lower. One that I like for this upcoming week is Bijan Robinson as they go against Tampa Bay. Give me the higher. Give me the higher on the 67.5 rush yards for Bijan. I'm going to rip the higher on that one. Every player, you make the call just right there. You must be 18 plus, 19 plus in Alabama, Nebraska, 19 plus in Colorado for some games, 21 plus in Massachusetts and Arizona. Sorry, I got to stop for a second. in present and state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Void in Colorado. Consult your play. Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org. Arizona 100 next step 1-800-639-8783 or text next step to 53342. New York has a 24/7 Hope line at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369.
We got a super chat here, Stu, from Raymond. So super chat number 1 from 32,000 feet on the way to KC. Somebody's watching this show on a plane right now. Shout out to Raymond Chandler.
Raymond, appreciate you, dude. I'm gonna try and hit you up. I'm still trying to find time. I'm in touch with Raymond.
Well, right now he's in the air, so I don't think this will be the time. I mean, I guess you guys
very
can
busy
chat
right
now.
I'm also on a show with you,
But I don't think you can link up with them. You'd have to, I don't know, get one of those like Batman balloon sword. There was a name for those, right? In the Dark Knight, where you can like put a balloon up and then it'll catch onto a plane and it'll just swoop you off. Am I making this up?
No, you sound like a nerd.
Somebody in the chat validate.
Appreciate you, Raymond. Jason Tyler says, happy Tuesday to the boys. Good to see you, Josh and Sterling. Good to see you, Jason. Says, I would like to say we will definitely be getting Cooper Cup for the Tennessee third.
Sorry, what?
Do we think that Cooper Cup's a legit possibility?
No.
Is that like a real thing?
No, not really. No. I think DeMarcus Robinson is a real possibility, and I think Deontay Johnson is a maybe. I think right now I'm 40% DeMarcus Robinson. Not what I want. What will happen? This is predictive. 40% DeMarcus Robinson, 20% Deontay Johnson, 5% the field. Where have I left this now, Matt? Is that 65% there?
Yeah, there's 35% left.
35% nothing. That's where I stand right now, I think.
I'm higher on Deontay Johnson than most.
On him as a player or on the Chiefs' interest in him?
Both.
Okay.
Little source.
He makes the most sense. He's the best fit. He's the best fit by a mile.
To keep an eye on that name. Could mean a lot of things, but keep an eye on Deontay Johnson. Panthers are going nowhere. He is in the final year of his contract. So he could be a rental player who also is a little bit younger than Cooper Kupp, less injuries than Cooper Kupp. Deontay Johnson's older than I expected at 28 years old. He's in his 6th year, 5 years in Pittsburgh, 1 in Carolina. Cooper Kupp, I think we're all enamored with what happened a few seasons ago. And when he's healthy, he is one of the top 5 wide receivers in the NFL. I will say, when healthy, probably a top 5 wide receiver in the NFL. He's rarely healthy. That's the issue. You're bringing in a 31-year-old who has 2 more years left on his contract that are hard to get out of. So where does that leave you? It doesn't really give you a whole bunch of insurance, does it? So I think Cooper Kupp, the name is great. I wouldn't hate it. I'd talk myself into a Cooper Kupp deal. 100% I would. He fits the Chiefs offense. But Deontay Johnson also does too. He has been healthier. And if you want to talk about some of the, I don't want to say off the field, because it's not really off the field, but some of the concerns in regards to, was he quitting on plays the past couple of weeks in Carolina? 1, it's Carolina. And 2, the Chiefs locker room will handle that. The Panthers won't. It was back in the day when they were talking about Randy Moss going somewhere else. And I think it was Herman Edwards was like, we can't handle Randy Moss. You can see him in New England. He's going to fall in line. You come to a bad team, they fall in line with Randy. It's not a knock on Randy Moss necessarily, but just, that's the persona. That's the personality. A lot of times, these guys can come in and they'll be a great locker room presence in Kansas City, where if they're somewhere else, maybe they do take a play or 2 off. I think Deontay Johnson, for me, is the name to really look out for production-wise as well as realistic-wise.
Yeah, I think he makes a lot of sense. I am losing my hope in what kind of receiver the Chiefs are interested in right now, because for all of the reasons that Amari Cooper made sense, some of his drawbacks are also similar to Johnson's. Do you know Amari Cooper would have cost less against the cap than DeMarcus Robinson would? Didn't know that until today, by the way. I know that Amari Cooper's deal was set up for him to be moved, but that's part of the weird thing in all of these conversations about like cap space and everything. They definitely could have acquired Cooper, and I think Johnson still makes the most sense and has made the most sense for the Chiefs this entire time, because he's a short-term solution and could be a long-term solution. They're reportedly interested in him this offseason. Don't know how far it got or how serious it was for the report that the Steelers didn't want to send him to Kansas City. Did they not want to send him to Kansas City, or did the Chiefs never give them an offer that made them really test that fear? I don't know. We don't really know. But ultimately, Johnson's fit in this offense would be there with Hollywood Brown. Like it would have been a hand in glove fit, both for the immediate and, again, perhaps you give him an extension that does keep him here into his early 30s, which is you're correct to make the point. This isn't finding a guy on his rookie deal at the end of a tenure with a team who maybe has a little bit of team control left, which is the reason that Kadarius Toney was as expensive as he was. Remember, that was a third and a sixth, right? Third and change for Kadarius Toney because he had team control left. He cost no money, etc. I would be excited for Deontay Johnson. I think he makes the most sense in this offense. To this point, man, when Andy Reid either says out loud or it's reported that he really prefers guys who've been in the offense, at some point, I'm going to stop fighting that. Not because I think it's a good thing to do, but just it seems like that's where this team is sort of starting from right now.
Weston Brewster says, how is it not a real possibility when the Rams said they'd eat most of his pay, which is only $9 million, and he has a potential out after 24? I don't know where you're seeing that potential out of. I was trying to do a little research right there. I don't see an out. To cut him was like $27 million or $22 million. And then the final year was like still double digits.
And I don't know what you think you're getting Cooper Kupp for with the Rams also paying that money. I think if you were going to go for a guy over 30 on a true rental, it would have been Cooper.
Yes.
Amari, not Kupp.
Yeah, Amari. Good call. I'm supposed to interview Puka Nacua this evening. I'll have to make sure to ask him all about Cooper Kupp. I'll make sure to ask him.
Practice window, right? Must be feeling a little bit good about that.
In regards to the Chiefs and the injuries, let's talk about this upcoming week first, okay? Let's talk about what the most pressing situation is going to be. Sky Moore played 47% of snaps. That can't happen. McCole Hardman played about, 33% of snaps? If I'm not mistaken, around there. And he was effective. I want to see more McCole, but you're looking at the top 3 snap getters for the weapons for KC. Travis Kelsey, Justin Watson, Noah Gray. I'm all for having a lot of 12 personnel. I'm all for more Noah Gray. How do you think the Chiefs, though, at wide receiver end up looking this upcoming week? What's the breakdown look like in your eyes?
I agree with you, and I don't think it's great that we can unanimously agree in 2024 that the Chiefs absolutely must run more of the offense through McCole Hardman. I think that's right. I think that's true. It's not a great state of affairs. A few more of the numbers that you were just referring to. Justin Watson took 51 of the 70 offensive snaps. That's 73%, leading the wide receivers in snaps for the second consecutive week, even when Juju was out there. Or second consecutive game, I guess, because the bye week. He had 1 catch for 8 yards on those 51 routes. Do you know on 239 offensive snaps this season how many times Justin Watson has been targeted?
I know he has 95 yards. Correct?
I don't have that in front of me.
I'll say he's been targeted 14 times.
9. 239 offensive snaps, and he has not yet gotten double-digit targets. Now, it's not all his fault, whatever. He's useful in some very specific way that keeps a defense honest, that keeps an offense on time. But Patrick Mahomes isn't looking for Justin Watson, despite the fact that he's out there constantly. Xavier Worthy, 60% of the snaps against the Niners. That's right in there with his average pretty much to this point in the season. I'd like to see that continue to grow, but it's really more about what happens on the reps. He is out there. I don't need him on the field 80% of the time at this point. I need those snaps when he is available, though, to matter. For Sky Moore, it was 33 snaps, almost half of what the Chiefs had on Sunday. He had taken 49 total snaps throughout the first 5 weeks combined. He now has 3 targets, 2 drops, and no catches. It was 21 snaps for McCole Hardman. I guess that's the plan.
That's my timeout noise. Wanye Morris has more catches than Sky Moore this season.
Yes.
It's impressive. That is impressive.
I don't know who this is about, but Ruben in the chat says every chance he gets, he fails. I don't know which of the wide receivers you're talking about. You might be right about all of them. Like, that's not fair for Worthy, and I don't know that Watson is failing, but he's certainly not succeeding. I can't see more Sky Moore. And if you're not thrilled about McCole Hardman, tough, because you're less thrilled about Sky Moore. I know. I'm on Twitter. I'm reading the chat. It's all that's left right now. We'll see them elevate finally. We'll see them elevate Justin Ross or Nico Remigio. The fact that the Chiefs have now, through 2 weeks, gone through with 5 receivers, knowing that against the 49ers, they were really going in with like 4.5 receivers, with Juju being questionable entering the game. They didn't call up Remigio or Ross in either of those instances. That's telling. It's telling of where the Chiefs view their group right now. They just brought back Cornell Powell onto the practice squad. I'm not sure why. I mean, why not, I guess. They vacated the spot with Taylor being elevated. But I can't help but be tiptoeing towards nihilism regarding the bottom of this group, because it's not even their fault. I'm not even angry. I'm not mad at Brett Veach or Andy Reid. They had a good plan this offseason. They drafted an excellent receiver last year, developed him throughout the year, and then made a plan this offseason to run the offense through Rashee Rice. They get him a veteran in Hollywood Brown, one of the best deals in free agency, at least among receivers, for my money. Love that deal, love that fit, to make sure it wouldn't all fall on Rice and secondarily Travis Kelsey. So they get Hollywood as well. They draft a guy in the first round who's going to give you that field stretching speed as a rookie and as a long-term investment side by side with Rice for years to come. The Chiefs' plan was good. They signed Juju in late August, right? Or whatever. I mean, in August, I think. They signed him well after training camp. There's a little bit of uncertainty about Hollywood when they signed Juju, but we didn't know that he was going to be gone for the season. Juju Smith-Schuster as wide receiver 5 was a good move. Some redundancies there in that group that got you through an extra game or two. It's just been apocalyptically bad luck. And so now you're at a point now where, yeah, I would put McCole Hardman on the field more. Have him run more of those orbit motions and just those sprint side-to-side motions in the backfield. It stresses defenses out. Defenses are never excited to see a fast little guy moving in the backfield. Put him out there, continue to work on everything with Xavier Worthy and run it through the tight ends. I don't know what else you can do right now, because Justin Watson gets open once a game on a corner route, and Sky Moore has not caught a pass this season. So I don't know if there's a whole lot of other options outside of more heavy personnel, and let's have Noah Gray season, I suppose.
Well, we're going to get into that a little more there. But I want to state the case for Andy Reid for being coach of the year. Because if there was ever a year where things go awry and he actually has a chance to win, and it's not just better than what was expectations heading into the season, this should be the year. Because if you want to look at a team with, I think, a really good head coach and a really good roster, but if they are without their wide receiver 1, their wide receiver 2, and their running back, what do they look like? You saw them last week with the Niners.
Yep.
They're 3-4.
I can think of one other major difference.
Well, sure, I get it, man. But okay, then how about you think of the Miami Dolphins? They're without their quarterback. But I thought McDaniels was a guru. I thought he could do it with any offense, any quarterback. They're 2-5. They look atrocious.
Quarterback, but yes.
No, it's their quarterback. But the point remains. Look at the Rams. Sean McVay, how many flowers does Sean McVay get? Seriously, how much credit does Sean McVay get for being the offensive genius? I'm not saying he's not a great head coach, but you're looking at what happens when team suffers a lot of injuries and everyone goes, well, yeah, their season's over. Well, how are they supposed to overcome that many injuries? The Chiefs have overcome, and they're the only undefeated team left in the NFL. Like, I just don't get how there's not more Andy Reid Coach of the Year talk. They completely have overhauled their entire game plan from the offseason to this year. They've lost Rashee Rice, Hollywood Brown, Isaiah Pacheco, Juju Smith-Schuster. They're running you and myself out there that would be just as effective as Sky. Okay? Their left tackle, who they thought was going to be the starter, has now been benched, and now it's been a second-year guy from last year.
Now he's playing tent on the sideline.
Like, good call. But, like, how was there not more talk for Andy Reid Coach of the Year? Dan Campbell's above him right now in the voting. Dan, we all knew Detroit was going to be good. How was this a surprise? How was anyone surprised that they're good? If you want to say Mike Tomlin with the Steelers, I get it. I'll entertain that. If you want to say Kevin O'Connell with the Vikings, you're right. I'll entertain that. Dan Campbell, great head coach. We knew they were good. Coach of the year is supposed to be, what are you supposed to do better than expected? Andy Reid has done way better than expected with what is given. Look around the damn NFL. Andy Reid, coach of the year. I'm pinning it right now. 24-25 season. Get it.
I'm good with that. It's been way too long since Andy Reid has won coach of the year. He's been the best coach in football many times since that first award and hasn't been acknowledged for it. So I support that in general. Can I ask you a genuine follow-up question that I think is within that same realm? Dead serious.
Also, Dan Quinn, Lauren Shanks in Washington. Good call.
Legitimate question.
Go.
Should we be giving Matt Nagy more credit?
Yes. I've said this from the get-go.
Okay. I'm not, this is not me trying to have like a little gotcha. I just think it's in the same headspace where there are a lot of people really mad at Matt Nagy. And I think you're making a reasonable point that stylistically, this offense has had to evolve so much that Mahomes, Reid, and Nagy have to get some sort of collective blame or credit as the flow of the offense goes. And obviously, Mahomes has had you can see Mahomes' mistakes. You can't always see the coach's mistakes, but they have been able to pivot and be able to create a functional offense. Obviously, I'm here for whatever awards we can get to Steve Spagnuolo as well. That seems like that goes beyond saying at this point. But yeah, I think that's interesting.
Yeah, because Matt Nagy and Andy Reid, together, they've overhauled this offense with all of the injuries, and they have found ways to win games. The defense is elite. Don't get me wrong, but they still put up 28 points. 28 points against the 49ers. Yeah, they had some interceptions. They had some plays. But they scored 4 out of 5 times in the red zone. It really was 4 out of 4. But
how different would the vibes be if instead of throwing a pick targeting Xavier Worthy, if Patrick Mahomes puts a little more air under that deep ball, throws a 71-yard touchdown 10 seconds into the second half? That game would have felt over in that moment, and the offense would feel even more electric.
I've said, as poor as Mahomes has played this season, which we can get into. That's a legitimate conversation.
Sure.
But the play calls, I think, have been really good. The efficiency numbers have been really good. Like, if you want to talk about yards per carry, Chiefs aren't great. Look at yards per carry. You're sitting here going, why are we praising Pacheco and Carson Steele and Kareem Hunt? These aren't good yards per carry. There's a 3 there. And then you look at the efficiency numbers, and they're top 3 in rushing efficiency. I don't want to say numbers lie, but numbers can be used to make a point. Like, look at the numbers that matter and throw out the ones that don't. I'm not saying yards per carry to an extent doesn't matter at all, but the efficiency numbers matter a lot more, especially when you're looking at a running group that does not have big plays. They're not being bolstered by a 50-yard run that's going to help boost those numbers up.
That's right.
So I've been so impressed with the overhaul of the offense. They're able to salt games away late. Like, they held off the Niners. They held off the Saints. It wasn't even close. They're figuring something out here. 12 personnel is working, 13 personnel. Hell, we saw 14 at one point. I didn't know 14 personnel was like stylistically possible. Like, no chance. Okay, I guess Jody Fortune's out there. I guess we are doing 14 personnel. Like, I've just been so impressed with the change from week 3, 4 on until now. They deserve a lot more credit than they're getting.
Yeah, and I think, this is something that we talked about throughout the last several weeks, that without those, with better performances in the red zone, which sometimes can be coaching and play calls, and sometimes it can be simple execution from either side of the ball. If they were more successful in the red zone, the offense would seem less desperate. We also know that what has been lost at wide receiver, so it's hard to overlook that. But with things like uncharacteristic Mahomes turnovers and terrible efforts in the red zone through the first 5 games of the year, and the interceptions continuing through the 6th, that's the type of thing that undercuts successful, efficient offenses and makes the end result look a lot worse. Another sort of like terminology that I think people are getting a little bit more wise to now is when you hear people talk about success rate. We've lost some of these battles in terms of like just trying to help people understand like some useful analytical data. Now, a lot of times analytics is like a person. It's like there's someone in the booth named Analytics that Troy Aikman always sort of distastefully refers to. Well, Analytics says that you got to go for it if it's 4th and 7 or better. We've lost the plot on some of that, unfortunately. Stats like success rate and using that over something like yards per carry is really, really helpful for telling the story of an offense. And it's exactly why, to your point, Kareem Hunt runs for 3 yards on 2nd and 3. That is successful. Let's say 3rd and 2. 3rd and 2. A 2-yard run on 3rd and 2 is successful. It is efficient. It is a win for your offense because it gives you a first down and it keeps the line moving. A 2-yard run on 1st and 10 is not successful. It is not efficient. It is not a win for your offense. Finding ways to contextualize that is really, really helpful for understanding the sport. And it's been really helpful. It's why my view of this Chiefs offense has not changed that much, aside from the injuries and the long-term view that way, because the next level of numbers beyond points per game and beyond yards per carry and beyond the usual things you'll see in your standard old school newspaper style box score, the advanced numbers have continued to tell you that the Chiefs offense is moving the ball. They just haven't been finishing, and they've been getting completely undercut by turnovers. The turnovers, by and large, end up falling to Mahomes, who I typically trust to figure out things like foolish interceptions. And the red zone success, you hope comes out in the wash. You get a little positive regression, and we saw some of that against the Niners on Sunday.
And what the Chiefs are doing is they're playing, I don't want to say ugly football, but they're playing old school football. Great defense, running the ball, and yet they still have the best head coach in football, the best quarterback in football, and you're going to win a lot of games that way. That's what it comes down to. I see Ruben in the chat saying we're looking like the Patriots out there, and kind of, yeah, good, really good defense, the best head coach, and the best quarterback. You'll run the football a lot. You'll find ways to win games, and you're going to win a whole bunch on the one-score margins because you're not going to beat yourself. The Chiefs are losing the turnover battle in the majority of games and still winning. That's also what makes us so damn impressive. And again, I laugh. A defensive tackle has an interception in back-to-back games against Mahomes.
Yeah.
I don't think any of us thought that would be a recipe for success. Yet the Chiefs are still finding ways to win and winning by double digits. Maybe that's the key, actually, Brisco. Throw an interception to the defensive tackle, you win by double digits. That's the new key. We've unlocked it.
It's like time of possession. It's like just go ahead and have that be the case every time, and you can definitely turn that stat into whatever you want it to say.
And so overall, again, the Chiefs are 6-0. Do they have issues? 100%. I'm not saying they're a perfect team. I'm not saying they're going 17-0, but I've learned to trust this team. I've learned to say, even with them playing really poorly at quarterback for Mahomes standards, they're going to be okay. They're going to be fine. Like, it's such a weird phenomenon to be in where I'm not worried.
I kind of disagree with the angle of they're going to be fine.
Like, they're going to be fine. Like the offensive line has been very impressive to my mind, because Wanya Morris, I think, bleep PFF in regards to this. I like a lot of what they do. They're wrong on Wanya Morris. I think Wanya Morris has been a really solid left tackle. Not great. Did you hear me say that word? No, he's been a solid left tackle. Juwan Taylor, what happened last week? 0 penalties. He's a good right tackle when he's not having penalties. That's the game I want to show him every single day. Say, look at who you're going up against. You got kind of bullied in the first quarter. I get it. But then you bounced back. You didn't let it get in your mind. You didn't let it spiral out of control and snowball. Offensive line's been really good. The interior 3 has been outstanding, especially in run blocking, right? Noah Gray has been ranked as one of the best top 2, top 3 tight ends in football this year. Like, efficiency-wise, he's been outstanding. The wide receiver.
I know you just took a big steamy dump on PFF, but Noah Gray has the 3rd best PFF grade among qualifying tight ends this year, and also the 3rd best receiving grade amongst a smaller group of qualifying tight ends. That'll be in the story going up tomorrow morning on ChiefsOnSI.com.
And that's why I use PFF when it helps my case and why I yell at it when it doesn't help me, because I like to pick and choose. And then again, defensively, when you're that good defensively, you're going to be in every single game. It's almost like the Royals with starting pitching. Like, it keeps you in games. Great defense. And
Oh, we lost Sterling. All right. Hey, so I thought for sure you saw me freeze because I thought, thank you, Richard. I thought for sure that I clicked a button on my other computer here to flip over back to my Noah Gray notes, and Sterling froze. And my thought was, bleep, my internet froze. Well, I hope somebody's hearing some interesting things from Sterling. And then it was Sterling who was gone. That's fine. I can take it from here. Let me give you the rest of those numbers on Noah Gray here, because I literally just had them up in front of me. He had the highest grade of any Chief from PFF against the 49ers with a 90.1, the only Chief over 90, obviously, because it's very close to the 90 mark. But he has been pretty near spectacular to this point this season. Here are the season-long marks as Sterling recalibrates and reloads here. No stress, Stu. We're talking about Noah Gray. Don't even worry about it. Noah Gray, despite playing roughly half the snaps throughout his entire Chiefs career, by the way, he's seen that workload increase a little bit as the receivers have gotten hurt. From Pro Football Reference, he has the highest success rate at 80% of all qualified pass catchers this season. He's third in catch percentage, sixth in yards per target, both of those stats courtesy of one Jordan Foote. He has a career best by a wide margin, 78 overall PFF grade at this point this season, the third best grade among 72 qualifying tight ends, while as 85.3 receiving grade, also third best among 54 qualifying tight ends in 2024. Sterling, I know you agree with me. I don't think Noah Gray could be doing all that if he had a fully functional pancreas. Oh, we might not have Sterling back again. Nope, I saw it. Huh. Yeah, something else is going on, Stu, because I threw a diabetes joke at you. I just got you to blink and everything at me. So you may need to do another little refresh or reset, or I suppose I could.
Am I gone?
You're in it now. I'm hearing you very late, but you've frozen again. So take one more lap, Stu, and I'll find somebody else to talk about, or I'll make a case for a different wide receiver. No, you're just gonna have to eject and do a little refresh. That's okay. I can monologue a little bit. Just hard to tell if he's about to say something or not, because I just see him frozen in carbonite like Han Solo to my left. Power through. So assuming that Sterling will do another reset there, as we've discussed, I'm fully in on using more Noah Gray throughout this. I also saw a Travis Kelsey comment earlier that since we're talking about the pass catchers and the tight ends and everything, Kelsey did not have a good PFF grade this week. Again, just as a metric, it just kind of helps us put all of this into context. I think it's pretty easy, and I have not done the all 22 Kelsey watch yet, so I reserve the right to be wrong about this upon further evidence. I think right now, if you are an opposing defense looking at this Chiefs offense devoid of healthy weapons, all you got to do to start is key in on 87. The only easy remaining thing in an offense built around Patrick Mahomes suddenly throwing the ball to rookie Xavier Worthy, Justin Watson, McCole Hardman, and Sky Moore, don't let him get the ball to Travis Kelsey. I think that makes sense if that's how defenses are planning. Stu, how are we feeling? I'm seeing you. You're seeming a little more responsive.
Yeah, I just wanted to do my best Sky Moore impersonation.
Just drop the ball and disappear?
2 times. Not once, but twice. Yeah. Don't know what happened. My Wi-Fi decided to go out apparently, and then I tried doing my hotspot, which I thought, hey, I'll make it work, but no one cares
Hey,
about that.
Sterling, I know you've only been married for like a month, but don't start blaming your wife for everything.
No, Wi-Fi.
Oh!
Yeah, I get it. Easy to be confused with.
The Wi-Fi, or are you a wife guy? That's the new question.
I'm a family guy.
Wow.
All right. Yeah, I'm like Peter Griffin. All right. Before we get into the defense, because I want to talk about Jaylen Watson, I want to talk about Spags and the defense in totality.
I don't want to talk about Jaylen Watson. It makes me sad. Okay, sorry. Go ahead. Finish your thing.
We're going to. And I appreciate everyone who was concerned about me. I appreciate everyone who was concerned about my well-being of my computer when it faded to black, like I was Metallica. All right. Mint Mobile, y'all. Because with big wireless providers, what you see is never what you get. Somewhere between the store and your first month's bill, the price you thought you were paying magically skyrockets. With Mint Mobile, you'll never have to worry about gotchas ever again. When Mint Mobile says $15 a month when you purchase a 3-month plan, they mean it. So say bye to your overpriced wireless plans, jaw-dropping monthly bills, and unexpected coverages, and say hello to Mint Mobile. To get this new customer offer in your new 3-month premium wireless plan for just $15 a month, go to mintmobile.com/arrowhead. That's mintmobile.com/arrowhead. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/arrowhead. $45 upfront payment required, equivalent to $15 per month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Speeds slower above 40 gigabytes on unlimited plan. Additional taxes, fees, and restrictions apply. See Mint Mobile for details. All right, I'm back. We're good. I felt bad about my technical difficulties. I thought today was going to be a great show. My dog's not even here, so I go, no barking. Yay. Maybe he was mad and sent some sort of like force field to turn my internet off. Did I thought you froze again. I was about to throw hands. Don't fake me right now. You're muted. I know what you're doing right now. We're not playing this game. Okay, now we're talking the defense. I know what you're doing. You're pulling a Matt Connor. Okay, you and Matt Connor are in the lab right now, and your entire gig is to bleep with me. I know this. Okay. Chiefs defense. Jaylen Watson. Jaylen Watson's been playing like a CB2, bordering on a CB1. I will use PFF again for this one because it helps my case. They were 25th. Jaylen Watson was 25th in PFF's ranking. He was playing like a CB2 and then some. How worried are you, Brisco, about Jaylen Watson's injury?
Worried is an interesting way to frame it, because I'm going to change the terms and then see if I can reverse engineer worried. I think I have sadness plus confidence in the defensive staff equals how worried am I. And so I have to do the math equation. I am really bummed for Watson, for the Chiefs defense. It sucks. Like, it probably, I'm not doing all the counting through here, one of the 5-ish worst injuries I think they could suffer defensively right now. I don't know. Again, maybe that's a smidge too high or a smidge too low. But he had been playing truly excellent football, truly number 2 corner stuff, opposite an elite corner, where he at no point this season was a guy who you could simply say, we're not throwing at McDuffie, so just find Jaylen Watson and test him throughout the day. That's never been a functional strategy against this defense. And that seemed like that could have been in the cards in training camp. Watson wasn't healthy. None of the rest of the guys were really winning that number 2 job. Watson comes back, plays late into the 3rd preseason game, looks really rusty, understandably. He just was working back from that labor room surgery and the rehab process throughout all of that from the entire offseason. And then week 1 shows up and he's lights out. Just absolutely lights out. He's not Ty Law, but it wasn't fully Watts Island, I suppose. But man, all you could ask for from a number 2 cornerback in this defense. Physicality, how Spags and Dave Merritt like to use them, and the fact that he was a legitimate Robin to Trent McDuffie's Batman. So for those that don't know, he's undergoing surgery for a broken fibula and tibia, according to ESPN's Jeremy Fowler. It says that he could return late in the season if the Chiefs make the playoffs. LOL, make the playoffs. But says it's also possible he won't return. It's a pretty serious injury. It's miserable because this was like forming into a career year for him, and it clearly an excellent thing for the defense. Agreed. I mean, he played through a torn labrum last year. Just an absolute badass football guy move. Yep. He gets surgery. He comes back, as you're talking about. He was rusty, and then he is having a career year. He's a 7th rounder. I know they make a lot of money in the NFL, but 7th rounders on rookie deals, they're not making a lot of money. So this was starting to build him up for a large payday, right? You saw Travarius Ward, L'Jarius Sneed. Doesn't necessarily matter how you get there, but that second contract matters a lot more for these 4th, 6th, 7th, 5th round guys than it does for the first rounders, right? Trent McDuffie's making a good chunk as a rookie. Jaylen Watson, not so much. So I really feel for him. But as far as being extremely concerned, this is not a shot at Jaylen Watson because he has been damn incredible. I've been trying to pound
I've been trying to talk about Jaylen Watson and how good he's been all season long. I was going to say bang the drum, but I don't like that either. There's any position on the Chiefs that I feel can get coached up, it's cornerback. It's Dave Merritt. It's Spagnuolo. It's, hey, they'll find a guy and they'll make him useful. The Chiefs will find a guy. It probably won't be Jaylen Watson, but they'll make him useful. Whether that's Najee Johnson, whether that's Joshua Williams, whether it's Christian Roland Wallace, whether it's someone on the practice squad or someone we
Keith
don't
Taylor
know.
now. Keith Taylor just got here. You have to mention him because of the Spags Merritt Devil Magic. There's always a chance.
Keith Taylor.
It could be me. It could be me. I could be the next great Chiefs starting number 2 corner.
I'm convinced that they could put me out there and I'd be like, PFF's graded to like top 50. Like, oh yeah, look at the job he's done with CB2, Sterling Holmes.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm at. I'm not. I feel worse for Watson than I do, and I'm confident they can figure out a way to make it useful in the secondary.
You are completely right to give Spags and Merritt that kind of benefit of the doubt. I still have maybe a smidge more doubt following it for 2 predominant reasons. One, I think we talked about this last week too, just the remarkable continuity in this defense this year where Jaden Hicks was the highest snapping newcomer on this defense, and he basically just comes in when Justin Reid like cuts his hand or something. Now Chris Wallace could be in that mix as well. And obviously Najee Johnson has been here, and as has Joshua Williams, who really lost that third cornerback spot to Najee Johnson week 3, I think. Week 3 on until Sunday, Joshua Williams did not play a defensive snap. The training camp struggles concern me because Spags was like pretty openly, he said it was concerning and frustrating going through that process with the injuries they had. Some of the other depth corners also got banged up in addition to Watson not being out there for the vast majority of everything. And no one stepped over and just took that number 2 corner job. Najee Johnson has not been as good of a football player as Jaylen Watson has been. I have always been relatively bullish on Joshua Williams, and I think he or Johnson could end up being in that spot. But I think what the Chiefs are going to have to do now to not even stop the bleeding, but to prevent excessive bleeding at the cornerback 2 spot, I think they're going to have to devote a little more help to whoever that guy ends up being than they were having to give to Watson, which was not very much. Think about what happens if this is a weird comp, but I was talking about this with Verderam yesterday. If they meet up with the Bengals again, you can't just say 1-1 and we'll see. The safeties can do whatever they want. You're going to have to give help to whoever Najee Johnson's covering. It's the continuity and fluidity and total comfort level of all of the defensive backs and their ability to communicate as a unit. And it's the specific level of drop-off that there will be from Watson to whoever's next and how the Chiefs cover that up. I do not think this will be the thing that deflates the Chiefs defense. But like all these offensive injuries, I think it's going to make life a little bit harder on the secondary as a whole, whoever that second corner ends up officially being. This isn't the most disastrous possible outcome, but I do think it matters more than just next man up because of the doubt we've seen in that room and other times this offseason.
What helps the defense as a whole is some players I think are having career years. I think Nick Bolton's having a career year this year. Like the first 2 games, he was really, really bad. Mizzou guy. I admit it. He was bad. He's been incredible the past few weeks. Even PFF has been digging him in pass coverage. That's wild. If PFF is digging Nick Bolton in pass coverage, he's come a long way. Leo Chenal has been ridiculously good. Insanely talented in all facets. I've been very impressed with Leo's expanded role.
He had a pass breakup against the Niners.
It was gorgeous, too.
He was covering a fullback, but I'll take it.
Yeah, Kyle Juszczyk is he's more of a tight end. Let's be real.
He was covering a utility player. Yeah, he was covering a flex player. How about that?
There we go. And then Turk Wharton career year. Chris Jones is having still one of his best seasons ever. If you look at a lot of the more analytical version of it, he's as good as he has ever been. McDuffie is bleeping McDuffie. Yep. And Karloff is what I think is nice is last week was his best game against the 49ers.
I think that's right. Yeah.
And so you're starting to see him come on, whether it's a slow start. And I don't know how, if you have any thought on this, Brisco, let me know. With the Chiefs playing so long into February, their offseason is shorter. They're going to be banged up more. You probably shouldn't have a slower start, but you can have a little bit of that hangover of the tired legs. The bye for Karlaftis seemingly did him well because you saw him have his best game. So I wonder if that will catapult him into this, I was going to say second half, but 3 quarters left in the season.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like they were necessarily picking on super easy matchups there either. Trent Williams hasn't been having his best season, but it's not like it wasn't one of those instances where Chris Jones sometimes just like hunts the rookie on an offensive line and just ruins that guy's entire career for a day. And Karlaftis did that in a game when Mike Dana wasn't out there, which we haven't talked about Felix and Udike Uzama or Malik Herring for that matter.
Yeah.
Here's my little, my faint praise to hopefully make everybody relatively happy and probably make everybody relatively upset. I didn't really notice. Felix had like a nice play here or there. I didn't really notice that Felix and Herring were out there instead of Dana. And I think that's fine. It hasn't been a great year for Dana. It hasn't been a great year for Karlaftis, but you did see him flashing at times. And to your point, Chris Jones has been electric. So I can't remember where we started and all of it. I guess you're saying that kind of the career year argument. Leo for sure, Bolton maybe. He's had other years he might put up there, but especially if he's taking steps in pass coverage, that's probably the year he wants to have before he hits free agency. And the defensive line, I think, still has room to improve. It will improve by a tremendous extent when Charles Omenihu comes back, who we're still not going to see for a little while. His practice window's not even open yet. So, I believe in this Chiefs defense as being legitimate for a whole variety of reasons, from coaching to individual performances. And again, I'm still feeling okay about how the secondary will look post Jaylen Watson. I just hate that now the defense is having to live this life of finding their job becoming harder and harder as injuries and terrible luck just decimate you.
Yeah. Again, we will be on the lookout and let you guys know any wide receiver moves that may be coming through the waiver wire. Cooper Kupp, I think Brisco on the same page. Seems a little unlikely based on his contract, the asking price, the Rams, just everything in totality, his age, the injury history. I think Deontay Johnson I'm a little more bullish on as a legitimate possibility than Brisco, but we both agree that
I think it's a legitimate possibility. I am losing faith in the Chiefs making that move as aggressively as I'd like them to. I think I would have traded for Deontay Johnson 2 weeks ago.
I agree. My point was I think there's a higher chance of it happening than you do, if that's fair. I think there's a really good possibility of that happening with Deontay Johnson. We'll see.
Makes sense. The Chiefs and Panthers should not have gotten off the phone since the minute Rashee Rice's MRI started coming back. I would have been at least maintaining that text chat the entire time. So, I'm just not holding out absolute hope. I'm waiting for that Demarcus Robinson push notification to hit my phone.
But Byron Pringle's free, baby.
Yeah,
Byron Pringle,
sure
Garrett Dieter, huh? We've seen him hang out with a lot of
Kareem Hunt was free. I mean, MVS was free, and the Chiefs did not appear to make an effort to stop him from going to New Orleans, which should tell you a handful of things. Good grief.
Yeah. So we'll keep you guys updated as we go through. You can obviously follow everything on the Big Boy website, arrowheadaddict.com, as Matt Connor is perpetually putting out good work. I mean, I'm so proud of Matt Connor for everything.
Is he the Big Boy? Is it the Big Boys website, or is arrowheadaddict.com the Big Boy? Is it a website only for big boys? I guess it's mostly about big boys.
It's mostly about big boys, and it's written by a man, Matt Connor, with luscious locks. So make sure you check it out. Matt Connor doing great work over there. You can check out more of Brisco in about what, a half hour, 40 minutes,
about half an hour or so. Only Weird Games over on KC Sports Network. Big boys welcome.
What about little boys?
Also, everybody's welcome.
Pause.
Everybody's welcome to Only Weird Games.
That came off really bad. I meant to say Jamal Charles, interviewed Jamal Charles, had a lot of fun with him. That will play following this show with Brisco. You can also check it out on the audio. If you're on the audio version, it will play directly following this. If you're on the video version, well, you can go ahead and just check it out. Go to arrowheadaddict.com or Arrowhead Addict on YouTube. You'll see the interview I have with Jamal Charles talking about all the injuries, about Texas, about the Chiefs. I said, hey, man, how about no running back for you because you don't want to take the hits anymore? But what about wide receiver? He's like, oh, hell yeah. If I'm not taking hits out there, put me in at wide receiver. So, Andy, Brett Veach.
I know I'm not perfect because I hear you say that. It's the only reason I know I'm not perfect because I hear you say that and I think, man, could he? Put him out there in a bunch. Put him out there in a bunch behind Travis Kelsey and Justin Watson. Keep him clean and let him get out there and shimmy a little bit.
He's only 37. Only Frank Gore played until he was like 60. So I think Jamal has a year or two left.
Aaron Rodgers out there getting it done. Direct snap, Jamal Charles. Let's just see it. I bet his vision's still good. I bet it's not. I bet that takes a minute to come back. Actually, I bet popping him into a backfield, snapping him the football, and telling him to sort it out would probably, I don't know, maybe it would come back to him like riding a bike, and maybe it would come back to him like a 350-pound man hitting him in the backfield. I don't know, but God, I love Jamal Charles, man.
Yeah.
One of the greatest of all time, truly.
So check out for that interview right there on YouTube, or if you're listening to the audio version, you're listening to it probably right now. For Brisco, I am Sterling Holmes. Appreciate everyone who hung out, everyone who was commenting, who stuck through me. Apparently, like Sky Moore, dropping it twice. Internet connection, like the ball. We'll be back tomorrow, me and Adam Best at 5 p.m. Central. Until then, we are out.